welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Data Brief. This is our half-hour intro show. Gonna try and cover the broader market and a few sort of general topics on a regular basis. Try to make this a public video and hopefully get you maybe sort of thinking what we're thinking at TRI. On a regular basis, and then we'll have like a dovetail show that we do on site where we'll go sort of deeper into particular topics du jour. And also I found out we're also going to have a lot of guests on the shows coming up, so super excited. Our level 2 instructor who's an absolute whiz with WD Gann. It's going to be coming on Wednesday. And one of our members who's like a celestial guru could tell us what the stars are going to tell us is going to happen. Well, the planets really more like. Anyway, on Friday. So, wow, holy moly. Happy New Year. This is the TRI show. So let's get this thing going. So what do we got here? As you can see, it's 1223. Interesting date for all the numerologists. 1223. Yeah. First sort of day back following the holiday weekend. Of course, I think the way it works is, especially with these governments these days, that they actually have like mandated holidays that they don't really have any choice. And I think if the holiday happens to fall on a weekend, then the following day is a holiday. So technically everything's closed here the 2nd of January. And what I mean by closed, like government offices, large sort of stores, companies, it's like it's basically a holiday for I guess you'd call it like legacy holiday, eh? Crypto, no sleeping with crypto keeps trading away. Crypto tastes great. 24/7. And actually we'll probably spend a lot of time in the after show talking about crypto today. Things like econs, things like obviously, well, not obviously, but things like econs obviously gonna be on the back burner today because there aren't that many reports. I guess what I do like to start off with, but a little bit flat-footed here this morning because I did sleep in a bit. It is a holiday after all. No futures trading today. Usually, one of the components that I do, one of the comments is on what we're doing day trading wise. In fact, my alarm clock went off at 4:45 this morning, and I was like, I'm going back to sleep. I hit the button, and it was nice. But that won't be the way tomorrow. Boo. It says boo. Anyway. So, can't really report too much on econs today. And generally speaking, I think actually we start off with the breadth indicator. So, breadth indicator, fascinating. For the broader market, caught a little bit of a bid. And really that does make sense because as we're heading into the year end, and the more you participate in the market, the more you're going to learn this. Usually the market has a pretty heavy negative bias heading into the very end of the year, especially in things like venture capital and in down years like we've had, because there's a propensity for tax loss selling. So I often tell people, if you make decisions in the marketplace based on taxes and tax policy, you're probably making a poor investment decision. So ironically enough, well, I don't think that 23 is going to be one of these boom years. Being a net seller of assets into that weekend, the end of the week event there last week, if it wasn't driven because specifically of taxes, i.e. tax loss selling, then I think actually the selling wasn't really that smart. But anyway, only time will tell. So as the breadth indicator points out, as we're sort of heading into the end of the actual year, and what usually happens is the small cap market gets really hammered hard here. But even as we were sort of heading into the end of the year, market actually started to pivot back to the upside. So often, especially when it comes to things like technical analysis, you might have a whole bunch of indicators all go into oversold condition, which generally means that it's probably not a good place to be thinking about putting on new shorts. So a reading system that measures sort of the appeal of shorts, if you have your momentum indicators just coming out of the overbought zone and emming out and starting to head down, then the technical readings will be very, very bearish. But once the indicators actually get oversold, and you might even have indicators starting to perk up a little bit, then, and it might just simply be because of a lack of selling, you might actually have things like the breadth indicator sort of base out here. So I get the feeling that that's what's going on right now. The markets usually move in M's and W's. So any kind of bottom, quote unquote, it should look like a W. You can see how we sort of V bottomed right off of this low. The moving average technically is actually pointing down still. So it's not really like the sort of medium-term trend has actually turned up yet. I think, if anything, probably the best description of this is a dead cat bounce, right? So anyway, you probably heard that expression before. So that would be sort of my impression of the sort of breadth message of the market right now. Then also, from simply like a rubber band perspective, it looks like the country funds, the global equity market is still pretty stretched to the downside. So could we have that rubber band snap back a little bit in the world equity markets? From what I understand, China is coming back online. I mean, I don't know what the heck's going to happen with the amount of people getting sick over there. But, companies themselves are like, oh, phew, now we can finally start doing some business again. So you might see a bit of a snapback bullish reaction in the market from that event. Interesting, too, to see how the bonds are as weak as they are. That's a bit suspicious. Might want to look into that data a little bit. Other than that, of course, beloved crypto, kind of middle of the road. Short term, we had a little bit of bounce off the lows. Assets like Litecoin look fascinating. And then out of the corner of my eye, I go over and look at some of the fun little sort of old DeFi names that were rocking and rolling. I couldn't believe one name, the Vader. The only reason why I got sucked into it was May the 4th be with you last year and all that. And people were making fun of me of it, but I liked it. It was down at the bottom end of the range. You look at the chart and it's like, oh my goodness, what the heck's going on here? Like, look at this. Is this for real? I couldn't believe that when I saw that. And this is, what is this? I think is this a daily chart or is it? It's 2-day chart. So that's even like, a few days old, maybe like a week or so old. Like heavens to Gertrude, if you bought down here, what is that? That's 5,000. Well, you're sitting on a triple right now and you missed all of this. But anyway, that's here and there. So, they always say in capitalism, there's always a bull somewhere. Anyway, so that's probably what explains why, interestingly enough, the crypto market itself's actually been doing relatively, in a weird sort of way, it's actually been doing relatively okay. I won't comment on the weekly commodity trend survey. Found a little bit of a bug in there. Of course, we just built this thing, so that doesn't surprise me. If anything, good that we're on top of it right away. And actually, the data that's coming through on all of these, like the individual names, of course, you've heard me barking about Litecoin recently. But gee whiz, oh my goodness. Strong like bull. I mean, geez, that's the way you want to finish the year, eh? Wow, I don't know what the heck's going on here. And somebody's even sort of like, Brian, I think you're being a bit contradictory. You're sort of bearish in overall, but you're bullish of Litecoin. Now, this is Litecoin versus rubles. So I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not even quite sure how we even get Litecoin versus ruble. But that's, if anything, this is such a great commentary. Like, you got to understand, he covers like 5,000 different cryptocurrencies in this engine. It's just incredible. So it's kind of funny. Litecoin versus ruble. We got to make sure we got a Tether quote here. Hey, that's not bad. There's a Tether quote. Anyway, Cheddar. And, also, too, I think this is a really interesting anecdote, but I'm getting off topic and I should probably save it for the after show. But I even tweeted this out the other day. What's the public sort of feeling right now? I couldn't believe when I heard this. Like, this is the public sentiment of crypto right now. Oh, here we go. anyway, I won't. I don't want to get into copyright stuff or not, but the public is not happy at all. And they actually, this interesting thing is, it's like, this is a whole generation of people. What's happened here with Mr. Buying the political system and all that, he's setting a really dangerous precedent for what's going forward for our society, and how this whole younger generation is going to be jaded by this SBF guy and what he did with these politicians. So, if he gets off scot-free and, find out mysteriously, anyway, the whole point is, yeah, I can tell that the public sentiment is very, very negative right now. So how ironic. What does the market want to do? Al, I couldn't believe this the other day. Not the other day, just looking at the dashboard, and again, I'm getting off topic, but I noticed that Luna was actually coming up on a screener. Weekly 13 EMA SMA cross. Look at Luna spat up a buy signal. Is Luna still alive? Couldn't believe that. I mean, this engine is so awesome. And like you want to I could spend a whole show just talking about the signals. It's just so beautiful. So just got to clean this crypto top 30 up, but on balance, I think the system's actually working pretty well. I'm pretty darn impressed with it. So your news, and that was supposed to be the news part of the broadcast, is the econs. We'll call that the econs part of the show. Things are looking pretty bright around TRI. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. If anything, I asked Chris because the market is closed today, and we've got the crypto market rock and roll, and we can get into individual names and some TA and stuff in the after show. I just want to sort of get sort of an overview of what's going on in the world, and also too on this holiday, what should we be thinking going forward? We have some pretty big things coming up here the first couple weeks of the new year, and if anything, this is the time of year. Paul, my show co-host there on the Wednesday crypto shows, he articulated it very well. Through this holiday market, this is when you want to be thinking about, let's go back and look at our plans. Let's think about what 2023 is going to look like. And remember, the worst thing that happens in investing, and this is one of these 1 minute little blurbs. Mind you, it doesn't really have anything to do on this screen, the news. People investing look backwards. They look backwards and they think, okay, whatever happened last year, that's what's going to happen next year. And 9 times out of 10, that's wrong. And especially in a space like crypto, that's really dangerous, because crypto is venture capital, which means it's highly subject to the 4-year cycle. And, in an interesting way, this really speaks to this tweet that I just put out. I don't think most people in crypto are ready for the next bull market. But it's coming, whether you like it or not. These darn 4-year cycles, it drives you crazy. And the worst part about it, right, is that just as hard as it was for me to try and stop people up top, it's even harder now to convince people that this stuff will ever come back. Nope, this time it's different. Oh, God, here we go again. So, do you have your together? Do you? Don't kid yourself. There are if it's one thing we should take away from what's happened over the past 20, 30 years, is that the capitalists own our society, right? Communists didn't win. The capitalists won the Cold War. And if anything, ironically enough, seeing how poorly Mr. Putin is doing there in Eastern Europe, I might even argue that the capitalists fully and completely own and control this game. No ifs, ands, or buts. But that means at the very bottom, they are going to literally turn you suicidal, which sucks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's good. And at the top, they are going to make you feel euphoric, and you are going to go mortgage your kids to buy more of whatever it is that you're being shilled. And that's the capitalist dream, right? Buy low, sell high. But unfortunately, what ends up happening with the public is they buy high and they sell low. So with that said, are you ready? These are the kind of things I want you thinking about heading into the new year. So markets are closed, but there are a few things, like we got this awesome blog. I got to tell you, this blog is just the best resource for just nice overview market information that I think we should always have at our fingertips, and just remind yourself through the year, because ironically enough, this game's actually pretty simple if you just take it slowly and you just review these concepts, like this decennial year concept. This is and again, the blog posts, geez, Josh, it's just next level. I mean, this is something that happens over the entire year. You don't really need to push a chain here. Just take it slowly. So point here is, in the beginning of January, a lot of information about the coming year is going to be sort of presented to us. We have things like the January barometer. And the old expression is, as January goes, so goes the year. And if I'm not mistaken, Josh just did an update on this. I think he did an update on the Twitter feed. And it was just like, wow, I can't believe how accurate that was. So, and this Twitter feed, again, I mean, it's just next level stuff, just next level. I do see, though, that Twitter's having a bit of a challenge right now. I noticed that I have a few impersonators that have come back. Oh, and then Twitter just does this after a little. I have no idea why. I think, if anything, I think what's happening here is that who introduced a user fee for Twitter. So Twitter is no longer free anymore. And I think as long as you use the free services, life's going to be a bit challenging using Twitter. But if you pay our low monthly subscription price, you will be treated like gold. Hey, another fantastic analogy. The capitalists have won. And that's the irony of all, is it's totally being billed as hey, this is a freedom of speech move. This guy's all about freedom of speech. Actually, maybe he's just an outright capitalist. Who knows? Anyway, point I wanted to make was just that January barometer. So as you can see, previous January barometer reports are very helpful. We have the January effect, which is all about how small caps actually usually outperform at the beginning of the new year. So watch out, January effect. We might have huge rallies in the poop coins. I could see it happen. The irony of it all is, I went on Twitter and I put out a bullish tweet about Litecoin the other day, and I was stunned. Well, maybe I can't show you. I don't know. I was stunned at the sort of rhetoric from people that were like, "Oh, you're being completely contradictory." But the weird thing is actually this is so, I tell everybody, wait for weekly W's. And we've got this 13 EMA 30 SMA cross system. Now it's on the dashboard, so you can see it, all day long. Anyway, the point here is it's pretty basic stuff. And the negative traction that I got on this tweet actually surprised me. So if anything, that makes another, I think, a good case that, we're probably near some sort of bottom. Public is awfully negative. So with that said, we want to be thinking about the January barometer coming up next couple weeks. We want to be thinking about how small caps should act relative to large caps. We also have the first 2 weeks of the quarter coming up. So they often say that the behavior of assets the first week or two of the quarter is going to tell us a lot about what to expect. Actually, here was the January barometer. It's interesting. I had this on the screen. Here was the January barometer prediction coming out of last January. I don't know. What do you think? Was that a helpful guide? I think it was actually pretty helpful. So lots of important information coming down the pike here that's not really going to set up a trade, but it's going to tell us a lot about, what should we expect for the coming year. So January barometer will tell us about the year. January effect should tell us a little bit about what to expect out of small caps, and that will be a good tell on the broader economy as well. If they just don't perform, then we know that we're still very much in the poop. First 2 weeks of the quarter, and actually there's a fantastic site that I always like to refer people to use, and in the school education program, we do a lot of teaching off of this site because it's just excellent information. But the first 2 weeks of the quarter, the price action tells us kind of what fund managers are doing, and then based on money flows, that'll sort of tell us where we are in the economic cycle. So that's going to be very important information for the next couple of weeks. So not only do we want to take this time right now to work on our trading plans, work on our setups, what are the criteria that get us to act in the marketplace, articulate that. You don't actually have to take any trades, just articulate it. I asked Chris here, it's brand new year. Why don't we start a brand new document for things like questions for our weekly broiler chicken show? I think that's a good idea. Just give it a fresh start. Not a bad idea. Check in on your journaling. Maybe on a holiday day like today, maybe take some time and actually just write what your observations were for the past year. Do you feel like you made any progress? Do you feel like you're moving towards your ultimate goals, or maybe you're stationary, or maybe due to life circumstances you had to take a step back? And be kind to yourself. I think that's a really, really important message in this kind of environment. I remember when I lost Jojo, the number one thing people always said is just be kind to yourself. Now's not the time to really beat yourself up. So, in a bear market, and, fortunes come, fortunes go. Maybe this time you might take a little different approach and pay yourself as the market moves higher, all that kind of fun stuff. We can always learn, we can always get better. But if it has been a challenging year, try and just be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. We're all humans. So, that's really the big message of sort of today. It's not so much trading wise. I mean, you've been hearing me bark about the cool part about it is, and this is the thing about technical analysis that always sort of astounds me, is that the data, the actual data itself is actually pointing higher. Where are we here? I guess we'll go back over here. There. And go back to crypto, and even the S&P for that matter. But the data, the crypto breadth has actually been pointing higher. And actually, ironically enough, it actually looks pretty positive. It's funny. And now the stock market's bumping up here. And in a weird sort of way, this is a fantastic commentary on why you really shouldn't have an opinion. Just trade your setups. I know on the Wednesday show, Paul, he was saying, well, I'm long Bitcoin off 61.8. My setup says I'm supposed to be long, so I'm long. So what? I have so much respect for that guy. He's the very model of a modern major general. I think that's how it goes. Pretty Gilbert and Sullivan fans out there. But, you look at this data, it's like, what the hell? Everything looks bullish. So I don't know. Maybe we get a big old fat rally out of the gate. Who knows? Tough to say. But I would say, I did buy some Bitcoin here a little bit ago, and I've been sort of sweating going, okay, if the breadth indicator breaks down, I got to take a loss here. So if anything, it's kind of nice to see the market coming back. And I got to say, things like Litecoin, geez, it looks very uppy. I mean, I teach people, and I teach all of you, just, hunt for these darn W's. And the W's just keep coming in. And like I said, and look at this darn Litecoin, just rocking and rolling. If anything, this is a little bothersome because, today is the holiday. And what does that mean? As soon as they start the gate, are they going to just dump this crap hard here? It wouldn't surprise me. So I suppose speaking specifically about Litecoin, the big picture, and this is like a weekly price chart, big picture, I could very easily see Litecoin work its way all the way up here, but small picture, if we go down to say like a 4-hour chart or something, I mean, you might make the argument that, hey, now we're actually getting a little bit too expensive, Mr. Beamish. So you can see there's 50% rule. 75 and change was just the most recent. And Coinbase, I don't know whether this is the best place to look at this. Yeah, I guess that's traded away there. There's 68. So, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and the damn thing's going to be down $6, $7, 10%. Bang. Thanks. Way to go. I appreciate it. Our rule at TRI, for whatever it's worth, and actually I was going to send a tweet out to a guy, is that really what we want to see is we want to see an outright big fat W on the other side of this trend line. So this, unfortunately, is not completely on the other side of the trend line. What I need to see is really more like that. So can I please get some sort of W that's completely on the other side of this trend line? And if we do something, and that would be something like that. If we got that, then I'd be like, wow, it is time for this thing to rock and roll. My hunch is that we're probably going to do something like that. And then what really this would translate to is as long as we keep making new lows, we might walk our way right back against this trend line. I've seen that happen plenty of times. But just give me this W on the other side of this trend line. And then, as I sort of pointed out, down the road, and my hunch is this eventually is going to happen. But down the road, we're heading into showtime time. In fact, I put out this, I don't think it was that tweet. Anyway, I put out a tweet yesterday about Litecoin, and I tell you or I guess it was Bitcoin. And you could just feel, the public is insanely bearish. So, of course, they're going to be very bearish. It's just what they do. And if anything, all you professionals, you need to get your poop together. And actually, a guy that I have a lot of respect for, who's of course a previous student of mine, so obviously I'm going to have some respect for him. He actually liked the tweet from Colin. I thought was really cool, but I don't know where the heck it is. It's one of these pages. Here we go. I don't think it was that one. It was this one, this tweet. I could very easily see we got about a 1 year of sort of sideways, and we might in sort of the beginning of the year have some sort of big fate dump. I could very easily see that, but this is the time when I think by the end of this year, October, November, we're going to be rocking and rolling. And your best to get off your butt. And if you want to take advantage of this coming bull, you got to get all your together. You have to. You got to do it now. And like I said, one gentleman that I like a lot, Colin, I don't know whether it was this one or another one. I guess this was a reply to Josh's original tweet. Where are we here? Yeah, here it is. Colin's like, accumulators. I thought that was adorable. Oh, maybe it's gone now. Was it? No, not that. Is it? I think it's, this one here. There he is. That's perfect. That is so awesome. So that's a good old random task. I like this thinking a lot. And I think I just said earlier, and it's sort of a commentary on this market state. You never know where the hell they're going to come from and when they're going to pop. I don't even know what the hell drove this. But you can see I was all sort of like, hey, maybe we ought to start coming in and buying. I mean, obviously, I was about 6 months too early. No doubt about it. Maybe even 8, 9 months. But even now, I mean, you could technically get a double even from where I was touting it a year ago. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the way venture capital works. And the problem is this happens in a heartbeat. And if you missed it, you missed it. It's gone. It's over. And then, of course, the public all come in and buy. I mean, they're not going to buy here, but this is a good example. Public comes in, buys up top here. They buy into these uppy markets, and then they got to sit there for the next year and a half, dying 1,000 deaths. I would much rather try and force myself to come in against the low end of the range. And of course, I'm obviously, this is what we really want, the position we want to be in. And if you can sell some into this rally, ideally sell half on a double at least, whatever, you get yourself a risk-free trade. Then who knows where the hell this damn thing is going to go? Maybe it's the next Bitcoin. I don't know. But this is it. We're getting there. And the thing is once we're here, right, and it's actually showtime, well, you really want to have all your poop together. And actually, it was interesting. I listened to a broadcast. I'll leave off the broadcast here for that. Hopefully, I've given you a whole bunch of stuff to think about here today. Not really market specific, like trading wise, because frankly, the market's kind of, now we're getting a little bit nosebleedy. I can't come in and buy now. And if anything, what you probably want to do if you are interested in something like a Litecoin is you want to probably throw in some stink bids, maybe we'll go off of this chart. 4 hour. I like the idea of, look at that juicy tail down there. Ooh, that looks sexy down there. Let's throw in a stink bid. If you're lucky and there's some sort of big thump that comes, where are we here? Reload zone. Comes right out of the gate, right? Maybe, look at that, 88.6 right against there. Is there any lower? Oh, yeah, there is too. Cool. Yeah. So down in this area, sexy area, reload zone. I ever heard that Beamish guy talk about reload zones? So I kind of like that. I mean, try not to chase that. If we do sort of go sideways for a bit and put in 3 higher lows, and it's looking very W and your indicators are start pointing up, yeah, you might bought it. But frankly speaking, considering January barometer, January effect, first 2 weeks, why be in a big hurry? The commodities trade always goes, you buy your unleaded the middle of February, not the middle of January, the middle of February. And you made money 9 out of the past 10 years. So why would this commodity be any different? I mean, they all basically are the same. So, I mean, you can see then this is everything that we teach in the education program, but you can see the buying zone setting up here. So, if we do pop the top, then obviously you're going to have to drag all these fib studies higher. But I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, January with all the unknowns coming up here. I like the idea of just saying, okay, that Beamish guy, he's a loudmouth. He's kind of a funny character. Anyway, let's see if we can get something like that develop over the next week or two. There we get something like that. I might even step in on the long side with you. So for now, though, just cooling my jets. Not really in a big hurry. Do you trade on Phoenix? That's another conversation for another day. But hopefully this gives you kind of a view of what I'm thinking. Now, if the market just goes careening right through this level, well, then there is no trade. So let's see if we can back up into a buying window. And let's see if there's a nice little W that develops. So that's the way that I would probably approach the market right now. All right. I think we'll leave the daily 30-minute blab at that. That's about 30 minutes. Gives you an idea of what I'm thinking. Also, too, hopefully you've heard repeatedly, this is the beginning of January. This is the beginning of a new year. This is the beginning of a new quarter. There's a whole bunch of information that the market's going to be handing. I think that you take this time, don't go and risk a pile of money, unless, of course, you get like a silver-plated setup, like something like you see on the screen. Take the time now to maybe do some self-examination. Examine the world around you. Compliment yourself on goals achieved and objectives realized. Maybe consider joining like education programs. And, you know, I have a 30-day trial. You can come on the site and listen to me rant for an hour or two a day. But you know, set yourself up for success. This image, it's coming. Don't kid yourself. This is the way the capitalist machine works. Today, you know, today's bear market actually sets up tomorrow's bull market. Since we know this is a rise only market, happening events, yada yada. You know, M2 money supply going through the roof, right? Just learn how to play the game, and just get your together, because this is it, folks. 2023 is when this stuff is supposed to base, and we want to just put ourselves in a position that we can take advantage of this. Anyway, PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. I think we'll spend an hour or two just chit-chatting with site peeps. Actually, there's a really cool document. I think Joshy was even thinking about putting it out. Somebody came on the site and asked a whole bunch of questions. These are my top 10 questions for Brian. I did a preface to the actually answering the questions. Then I did answer the questions. And then I did a summary statement following. So Josh was so impressed. He's like, yeah, I think maybe we should talk a little bit more about this in the daily brief. So, Chris, thank you so much for all your assistance today. Didn't have to do a lot of talking, did you?
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for you to cue me up, but never.
There he
came,
is. So we're gonna try and have Chris talk a little bit more through the term, but I was just like, woo, off and running here.
January, here we are.
Was there, you know, we had a bunch of things that I asked you to remind me of through the show. It is basically about a half an hour now, right? So we probably want to wind it up at that. But was there anything on the list that I missed?
You mentioned upcoming events, January barometer, January effect, first 2 week study. You covered a lot of topics there, so I think we've covered our bases.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for your assistance. Thank you, TRIers, for being just so awesome. I swear our lounge, it's a cool place to hang out in bear markets, because we have lots of fun stuff that we talk about. And I think Cotter is creating cold fusion on his ranch in Montana or Idaho or wherever he is. Come on and join the frivolity. You know, we're passing around social media memes, just having a good old time. I tell you, man, if anyway, Benner cycle, I don't know whether I need to talk anymore. I think we'll leave it at that. But hey, let's pop on over and continue the conversation on the site. PMA for the win. Consider joining the school program. We are in the raffle window, so you know, if you want to get a free seat, there is the school, there's the address. Maybe Chris can include that in the video. And of course, we have a raffle coming up, so you might just win a free seat in the school. So anyway, all right, so PMA for the win. All the best, hugs and kisses. The only thing left for Brian to say at this point is bye for now.